Hello, everybody listening to the Fair Weather Podcast. It's me, 2K Suave. I'm here with my boy, A-Rod. We back again. Super Bowl 55, Tampa Bay, Florida, the
Life is
Sunshine
good.
State.
Life is good.
Life is good. What's going on, man?
I mean, Tampa's alive. You're seeing the Buccaneer fans crawl out from under the rocks. You're seeing, all these different jerseys and
Flags
flags
everywhere.
flying everywhere for the Bucks. I
I
mean,
ain't
more
seen
power
these
to the
flags
winner.
for a while.
Yeah, I ain't seen them for a while either, man. I
some
haven't seen
of them,
them for a
some of them
while.
look real wrinkly, like they've been hiding for like 10, 15 years.
Truth be told, I wanted to do this podcast just for Buccaneer fans, to be honest with you, man, because they truly are the biggest fair weather fans out there. But I mean, beating all odds, getting Tom Brady going to the Super Bowl. I mean, 55 in Tampa in your backyard.
Mhm.
What more can you want for this? So Chiefs and Bucks Super Bowl. It's gonna be electrifying, man.
You
It's gonna
got
be
you got
good.
to give the city of Tampa credit though. Like in the last 8 months, they've had the Lightning, the Rays,
They
the
have
Bucks,
they have,
all
but
successful.
my only argument to that is don't start jumping on this wave of calling Tampa Bay title town because it's not title
Yeah,
town.
you got to give it time. You got to win a few. Like
You
Boston had to
got to
win a
give it
few.
time,
New York had
absolutely,
to win
but
a
you have
few.
to win.
Yeah,
So I don't want to hear just because the Rays went. Don't give a fuck. You lost. If you ask somebody 50 years down the road who the Dodgers beat during the pandemic, they might remember because it was during the pandemic. But nobody cares second place. All they care about is that winner. So you play to win the game, like my man Herm said.
damn right.
I'm not shitting on Tampa. This is my city. I love it. I want to see it thrive. It's just notoriously bad at keeping players and keeping good teams together. It's quick to dismantle and quick to reboot. And you might be able to see this with this Bucks team. This could very well happen to this Bucks team if it wins the Super Bowl or if it doesn't win the Super Bowl. To be honest with you, some guys are impending free agents. Some guys are going to want to get paid. They're not going to be able to keep this entire all-star team together.
But Tom said he's trying to play till 45, maybe even past that.
Uh,
Tom, whatever diet that little whatever Tom 12, whatever diet that he does, I need to start following that. I'm gonna start doing plyometrics and eating green tea ice cream because this man does not age. Like it's ridiculous.
he
He looks
doesn't.
younger at 43 than he looked at 22
Yeah,
when
he
he
looked
was
like
running his
shit.
40, his
He looked like
five.
shit fresh in the league.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just I don't know, man. Time
I
versus
think
time is
it's
real.
I think it's just because the swagger that you get introduced to the locker room. Guys are gonna teach you how to wear your hair, and
Yeah.
obviously you're gonna get a stylist now. Your wife is a Victoria's Secret model. She's gonna be like, "Honey, I don't like the way you wear
Why
your
are you
hair."
dressed like that? Why are you wearing
Yeah,
that?
exactly. Tom, remember his picture of him like going to weigh in, what he looked like.
Exactly. I'm like, this guy's
Like
gonna be a quarterback. This guy's gonna be the
exactly.
GOAT.
So
What?
you'll right the ship eventually in Tom's case, but Tom is doing, Tom things. Him and LeBron James are two guys that at this point in their career they should be slowing down, but you know, gas the foot's on the gas, full pedal to the metal right now for them.
Mhm.
And they're doing really well. So this this could be another Super Bowl win for Tom. It would be what would it
7.
be? Seven, yeah, seven. He's been 10 now, right?
This is gonna be his 10th one. So if
And
he wins, he goes 7-3.
seven, exactly. So lucky number seven for TB12. Um, what's this setting up for his legacy though? If he wins this Super Bowl,
There's not his legacy is already established. There's nothing. This him winning the Super Bowl is more kind of just like I'm
I
43
did it
years
with
old.
the team.
I'm 43. I just took another team to the Super Bowl. What's up? Like it had, like he's already the greatest quarterback of all time. He passed Montana when he came back on the Falcons. So when I started saying that LeBron was equal to or maybe greater than Michael Jordan was when he came back from 3-1 against the Warriors.
Where's
The same thing I said about Tom Brady was when he came back from 28-3 against the Falcons. How he executed that comeback, how they won that game. That was the day I said, all right, I can't even deny it anymore. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my entire life. As far as winning, like he's the greatest winner I've ever seen. Like talent, I still, I'm still crazy about Aaron Rodgers' talent.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see what Patrick Mahomes is going to become talent wise. But as far as like actual, the whole package, it's Tom Brady without a doubt. Ever since that, so for him to win this game, it won't change anything. Even if he loses, it doesn't change anything. It's more so kind of just another. It's like,
Like a
like
PS at the bottom of the letter.
what's up?
It's like a PS at the bottom of the letter, like PS.
It's
I
a
lost.
long PS. Like it's like super. You know how like a book has like a prologue and then the actual story and then like an epilogue or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like an extended. You know what it's like? You know how like rappers come out with like CDs and then they make like a deluxe version, like, and it's like, what was the point of like you should have just made a deluxe version of CD.
Yeah.
His deluxe version, he just keeps adding more songs to it. But I mean, it's already
More
cemented.
players.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's already cemented to me.
Yeah, Tom is definitely solidifying himself as the best to ever do it. He's doing, as much as it kills me to say that, because I truly hate Tom Brady. I do respect the man's game though, man. I mean, 20 years I had to watch him just tear apart my division and win it at one after the other. Give or take maybe a Dolphins win in there, but I
Those
mean,
lucky Dolphin wins.
capitalize when you can. When Tom's out, capitalize. But he's a winner, man, and I didn't think it was gonna be what got the Bucks over the hump. I mean, Tom is definitely part of it, but it's also a lot of the acquisitions they did to help Tom as well. Um, so and then other guys stepping up. There's a lot of guys that have stepped up on this team in the absence of other players. So
Mhm.
Tampa Bay has a lot to look forward to going into this game with the momentum they have. With that said, do you think that this winning culture is going to, because the Bucks have been historically bad, like bottom of the division, his like for a very long time. Even after that 2002 Super Bowl win, they were very very bad afterwards. Like a lot of key
They
players.
had a couple good years, but I didn't realize how overrated John Gruden was.
Yeah, yeah, he definitely
It
was.
breaks my heart because I actually kind of like John Gruden, but he never
I do
really
too.
developed any talent over there.
He didn't develop any talent. He just went and got like guys that were just disgruntled or criminals or whatever and put them on the team. Like I'm calling it what I how I see it. But this momentum going forward with Tom Brady here, are they initiating a winning culture and possibly continually being back into the playoff hunt now? Is that going to be something you think they can build
So Tom can do that, but Tom's not going to play for the rest of his career.
with?
Like
True.
Tom in New England created a winning culture like no other. And the moment he left, as great as Bill Belichick was, they couldn't cover that band-aid up. Like it was, they have no talent in New England. So, and it showed. And he brought whatever he had in New England, he brought to Tampa. So they're gonna have it as long as he's there. The problem is that the guy who's gonna be the guy after, we don't know. Um, when Peyton Manning got to the Broncos, I was thinking the same thing because his first year there, he had 50 plus touchdowns, and like it was an amazing season. It was the season. It was the Super Bowl that they got blown up by the Seahawks though, but they ended up winning because the culture remained. Even though
Mhm.
he fell off a cliff, the culture was still there. But
Yeah.
ever since Peyton Manning's left, the Broncos have been terrible.
Hmm.
So it's like you at the end of the day, it comes down to who's manning the ship. If they bring in another Jameis Winston type of player, that culture is going to be gone because I think Jameis Winston has the talent, but I don't think he has that mentality that Tom Brady has because I mean, Tom Brady is working with the same pieces he had, but he doesn't, Jameis doesn't have that kind of mentality because he never, I mean, I think Florida State is an okay program, but they're not like, they don't think
I
about it.
I
They
think
don't
at
blow
that
you away,
I think at that time they were blowing people away. Like,
yeah,
but
for a
now
little bit,
now
yeah.
they're very obsolete.
Exactly. So it really just comes down to like if management is going to continue to bring in that kind, like let's say Tampa becomes the place where old quarterbacks come and play, then they can keep that. Like
Yeah.
let's say Aaron Rodgers was to come here in a couple of years, all right, we can bring that. Now we're talking, but it really just depends on what direction they want to go to because if they try to draft a quarterback, notoriously we know they don't do the best job in the draft. So
I mean, I don't think Jameis was bad, but
yeah, I don't think he was bad at all.
I think
He just
I think
He
there
was
was
just dumb.
got him pieces. I think he could have. I don't think he could have took you to the ship, but I think he could have been, in playoff, maybe in the hunt, things like that. But when you've got the opening for Tom Brady to join your organization, and you got to make this decision, I was laughing at it, but it was the right decision, and they made the right move. Um,
Mhm.
and I think where Jameis ended up is going to be beneficial to him because now he's at a fresh start where he has at least a decent defense behind him where he doesn't have to play catch up, and throw 53 points against the Rams to beat them. You know, People forget about that game where they beat the Rams and they were they went to the Super Bowl that year before, and Jameis beat him. I say Jameis beat him because the defense got beat by the Rams and he had to go
Mhm.
in there and manage the game. But I think he lands in a beneficial spot. But Tom, I mean, how long is left in the gas for
But
them?
think about it though, like certain players galvanize the whole team, and I don't think Jameis had the ability to get his defense to step up. Because here's what's going to happen: the defense will play well for like 2 quarters, but Jameis will keep throwing the ball back to the to the other defense. They got to come back on the field. Whereas with Tom, the defense has like enough respect for him that they try a little bit harder. It's like offensive line is going to block better when they can trust the guy behind them. The defense is
Oh
going to
yeah,
play better when they know that he's going to keep them off the field. Like the running backs going to run harder because it's all a trickle down effect, and it
I
starts with your quarterback.
yeah, and I agree 100% on that. But it also comes to maturity level too, and I don't think
Mhm.
Jameis had that maturity level. I don't think he had the right coaching, the right people in place to
Not at all.
put him in the right path. The GM for the Bucks is very questionable, even though he got Tom Brady. Like he's a young guy. Like it
No,
was
Tom Brady got the G. Like Tom Brady did not get called by that GM. He just showed up. Like, hey, I'm
oh
gonna
yeah,
come play for you guys.
but just because you get Tom Brady there and he signs the extension as you as the acting GM, you're going to get an extension. So like it's inevitable. But
Mhm.
there's certain things that could have played in, and I'm not trying to vouch like the Bucks did a bad thing getting James. Obviously, they're in the Super Bowl. That's where they wanted to be.
They
But now
accomplished exactly what they set out to do.
yeah, what I'm trying to get at is like, is this going to be a continuing thing? Maybe next year they'll make the playoffs again, but after that 2-year contract with Brady, is he going to re-sign with the Bucks, or is he going to take one more home back to New England and try and win it there? But you're going to be opening with a new spot at the quarterback position. You're going to have to put a new guy in there, and like you said, maybe Tampa becomes the place for the old heads to come and show the young guys is. They're gonna have to like keep this young core together. Um, and that's going to be a thing that's going to uh, be pivotal for the Bucks going forward. Is keeping a lot of these young guys there on that team
Mhm.
and around a long time, kind of like they did, Rondé Barber, keeping Rondé there as a lifer. Derek Brooks, even though they cut him, he was a lifer Buccaneer. So guys like that,
Yeah.
like a Whitfield, like a Veda Vey, Mike Evans, even you want to keep these guys
They
around.
have. I mean, they literally have to keep those kind of guys on the team. Like, like Levante David, he's getting a little older, but he needs to be there for the rest of his career.
He does. That's another kid like him and Godwin. I think are the two biggest pivot, and maybe even Sue. Even though Sue is expendable, like those are two big free agents that the official.
Godwin, they need to be worried about because he's only making like 760K, and he's definitely going to demand top dollar, like not top dollar, but close to top dollar because I mean he's that good of a receiver for sure.
He's a good
So
player. So I think to keep Tom and everybody happy, you got to keep this core there, and then develop talent.
mhm.
Develop talent is big. When you get all these like, look at this guy Ridley for the Falcons. His first year, he was showing out. It took Godwin 2 years to come out of his show, but when he was given that opportunity, he took it, and you're seeing it. He's a good receiver.
Mhm.
He could even eclipse Mike Evans if he wanted to, but I think he knows his role on that team.
If he wanted to, maybe, but Mike Evans is definitely better to me though. Like
I still think so
Chris,
too.
Chris has the arc to get there, but overall, like talent, Mike Evans is definitely like the guy for me.
I agree 100%. So developing your young talent, and in young talent, that's what Kansas City has. So Kansas City, you're seeing the emergence of a baby, possible. I mean, everyone's already saying it. The baby goat, the baby Tom Brady in the making. The way this guy plays,
Mhm.
he plays, he plays like Aaron Rodgers, but I hate saying this, he's gotten to the Super Bowl more times than
Isn't that crazy though? Like
winning a
this
lot.
young kid is already been to two Super Bowls, and all if it wasn't for D Ford lining up offsides against the Patriots 3 years ago,
They would have been
this would have
fine
been
too.
back to back to back Super Bowl appearances. Like that is this Mahomes, man. We're so blessed to see somebody like him in our lifetime, because these kind of guys don't just come, every season, every draft. Like he's a really special player, and they're young. Travis Kelsey's still pretty young. Tyreek Hill's still pretty young.
Locked them up. The only guy they didn't lock up, and I understand from a PR nightmare, is dude that's in Cleveland, running back Hunt, Kareem
Oh
Hunt.
yeah, Kareem Hunt. Yeah,
That's the
I mean
only guy. I get that move, but
running backs in Kansas City are expendable. Like they.
they are. But that guy was like, could you imagine if Kareem Hunt was still there after your rookie campaign? You leave
Oh
with a
yeah, that's a dynasty.
that's insane. Like nobody thought that that was going to happen there. I'm sure they want Kareem Hunt. They'd rather Kareem Hunt there, but from a public relations, standpoint, I get the move. But like you said, it's plug and play. You saw Damian Williams do well. Um, you saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire do well beginning of the season. Then you saw Darrell Williams, who knows the system, who was the backup, who was doing well to fill in during the playoffs. And then just for shits and giggles, you got a Le'Veon Bell.
Let's just throw Le'Veon in there
Yeah.
let's just have some fun.
Third option. But but even at that, like you said, they've done what I say the Bucks should do. They've kept their young talent. They've paid those guys. They know they're pivotal to them. Mahomes is on his way to be a billionaire, man. The way he's getting paid and all his endorsements and his contracts, everything. Kelsey's taken care of. Hill's taken care of. They went and got a young guy in Matthew who was, he's still under, I think, 27 years old. Like, there's a lot of good young talent on that team that can flourish for a very long time. And even though, and I'm sorry for Kansas City fans hearing this, like Kansas City is like, kind of a shitty place to be. It's intriguing to be there now. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a winning culture, and you want to go there and play.
I mean, not even to mention, I mean, they got some good speed on the outside, like McCole Hardman, DeMarcus Robinson. I mean, Sammy Watkins kind of fell off a little bit from what I expected him to be in the league, but he's still there just in case you need another pretty good receiver. Pringle's there. I mean, that's a team that, with Andy Reid at the helm, and because teams don't want to give Eric Bieniemy a chance, as long as Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid are there, run it back again. Run it back again. It's beautiful.
I don't get the Bieniemy thing. That makes no sense to me. That guy should be a head coach somewhere. And Byron Pringle went to my high school, so
Oh yeah,
yeah, he went to Robinson.
He's
High
a
School.
Robinson kid.
He's a Robinson kid.
Good.
Shout out to the Robinson.
Hey, shout out to Robinson.
Girls powder puff football teams in a Nike commercial. That's
Hell
some
yeah.
good shit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got. I don't think Hardman's the true number two that they need, but he's easily a gadget to play with on.
You
offense.
saw what he did last week against the Bills, or 2 weeks ago. I mean, he did well against the Bills.
He fucked up and he got his
exactly. The fact that he has at that young of an age able to flip that switch, like, because usually a young player that messes up that early in the game, it's over. Like, it's literally over. But he was able to kind of just, all right, I'm good. I'm fine. I got it. Yeah. And that, again, starts from the top. Patrick Mahomes is that good of a leader at this young of an age to kind of get that out of him. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think when you play multiple positions, like if you're a wide receiver, like a wide receiver 2-3, and you do kick your punt returns, you're gonna get a little more options to like redeem yourself. And
yeah.
But yeah, they definitely have a lot to look forward going forward with this team and how young everybody is, and the intriguingness behind Patrick Mahomes being there and how he spreads out the ball, similar to that of Aaron Rodgers as well. Is this the beginning of a new dynasty in Kansas City? Could it be like the New England Patriots run?
Can it be like the Patriots run? Here's the difference. Bill Belichick has been with the Patriots for 20 plus years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Andy Reid probably has. I mean, he's getting up there in age. Andy Reid, huh? And
he loves his cheeseburgers.
He does. So Andy Reid probably has about 5-6 years max left in him. Now, can they maximize all 5, 6 of those years? We'll see. We're gonna have to see what happens with the cap because Tom Brady was never making Patrick Mahomes money. Tom
Mhm.
Brady's always been middle of the pack, 18 mil, 16 mil, 20, 18 mil, 20 mil a year. And my boy is already making about 45, 50 a year. You know what I mean? So depending on what happens with the cap, then maybe they'll be able to hold on to other pieces. But I mean, there's a lot of mouths to feed. Now, when you have Patrick Mahomes, though, no matter what, you should have a chance. Your defense has to step up for you, though. So it really comes down to who they retain on defense because Aaron Rodgers, to me, for the last 10 years, he won the Super Bowl 10 years ago and has not been back to the Super Bowl since. And Aaron Rodgers has all the talent in the world. He makes a lot of something out of whatever he's given, but his defense has failed him over the last 10 years. So that's what separates Aaron Rodgers from Tom Brady is that he didn't have that kind of infrastructure that they have in New England. So it comes down to do we really think Kansas City can have that kind of infrastructure that they had in New England? Because Tom Brady's taking less money, and guys literally on their last chance, Randy Moss, Corey Dillon, whomever, Chad, not yeah, Chad Johnson technically, AB last year he was a Patriot. Like
One game.
they, what's up? One game, but
One game and got a
he
touchdown.
scored a touchdown. Like they built an infrastructure where they were able to attract guys and pay them minimal money and have success, which is
I
exactly what the Bucks just did. AB not getting paid crazy, Ndamukong Suh took out like a pay cut.
took a
JPP is
one
not
game.
making what he was making before. Like everyone took a little bit less money because when you have an opportunity to play with Tom Brady, you're gonna do that. So it comes down to will the Chiefs be able to do the same thing,
I
attract guys on their last leg or guys who have been like let's say OBJ in Cleveland doesn't work out. Where does he go? Like to me, if he's made the money, he's gonna get the endorsement deals. He doesn't have to worry about that. If I'm AB, if I'm Odell Beckham, hell yeah, please sign me up for this.
Yeah, I
That
just feel like his heart's not in that though. His heart's into the money side and looking
he
good.
wants a ring.
Yeah,
I know Odell Beckham Jr. wants a ring because he's only 27 years old. He's accomplished nothing. He's accomplished things financially, but he's accomplished like he got that catch against the Cowboys 4 years ago or 5 years ago or however long that was. And he's done nothing since then. Like he keeps getting hurt, unfortunately. He's gotten traded already. They did better. The team that he got traded to did better when he was out of the lineup. So I'm pretty sure he's ready for that Randy Moss season. Like, all right, let me show you something. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I can agree with that to a certain thing. The cap is definitely a big thing to watch, but I think you're seeing it. They're not going out and signing like these big name, huge players to like the guys that they get at the right. Like they got Tyron Matthew at the right price. They got him at the right price, and they're grooming other players to be very well. Like look at Chris Jones. That guy is just taking his game to the next level.
he's crazy. Him and Frank Clark, they're doing an amazing job. Like,
Frank Clark was I think he was from he was in Green Bay first, right?
mhm.
I think he was in Green Bay, yeah, but he knows his role there and he's stepping up, So these guys I think they can definitely not the same. I think the Patriots what they had going for them was that Patriots way of things they were doing, getting these guys that are on their last leg that, could be a lottery pick, a top 10 pick. Hey man, you've been with the Bears forever. Okay, you had 10 sacks last year or you're going to be a situational guy for us. That's just the type of play that Bill Belichick does, and he doesn't put up with shit.
Mhm.
So maybe that culture can eventually come to that if they keep winning and winning and winning and winning, and keeping that core because they kept Gronk in there for Brady all the time. They kept um that guy on special team Slater for Brady. I'm just saying the things that Brady
Yeah.
needs, they're gonna do their best to keep those things. And if they can't, they'll find something that would be ideally similar. And where they fucked up was thinking that young core receivers was gonna be the thing to get them over the hump, and it wasn't. As soon as Gronk was gone, there's your big target gone.
Yeah.
Edelman
Yeah.
got hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and these new kids, they were just like, I'm on the Patriots now. Like I know how it is, and that wasn't flying for Tom.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the way that the Kansas City is doing it, they're developing talent at a very slow pace, but these guys are showing up when they need to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Sammy Watkins is supposed to be a 1/2 receiver on that team.
Yeah.
And yeah, he makes some big plays beginning of the season, but then he disappears because he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And then Hardman steps in, Pringle steps in, Robinson steps in, and they make those big plays. And when you win the Super Bowl, teams are going to come knocking on your door to sign you.
Exactly. So it's when they win the Super Bowl. They've won one.
When,
So what's gonna happen then?
man, it's gonna be a good game, man. That's all I can say. Tom Brady, it's at home. You know he's hungry. The hungriest guy on the Buccaneers team, in my opinion, is JPP.
Oh, you
He plays
heard.
in this city.
You see him.
He's played in this city almost his entire career. You know, when you think back at USF, he's got lineage here. He wants it, man. It's gonna be a good game, but I'm going with the young dog on this one. I gotta go with Mahomes, man. I'm not trying to shit on Tampa Bay fans. I'm just trying to keep it G. I'm trying to keep it G on this one. I say we go a lot. 30, 38, 32.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
I've given this very long, hard thought. And I go to the gym, I go to Publix, I go to the mall. I feel a different energy in the air. It's a very different energy that I was feeling 3 weeks ago. It's completely changed. Like it's like Tom Brady has some kind of magical power over this city of Tampa, Florida.
He's a wizard. Tom Brady is a fucking wizard, is what he is.
I don't know who he like gave his soul to or something, but Tom Brady is gonna win number 7 this weekend.
Okay.
It's
Let's
good. It's you know how much I love my homeboy. Like that's my guy. He's ever since he got into the league, it was after Aaron Rodgers was him and Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson. Those are my three new guys. And Mahomes is a bad dude, like for real. He's a really bad dude. But there's something like here's an example. Only the Chiefs this would happen to. The barber that's cutting up is cutting up. Somebody not gets pulled mid haircut because the barber has COVID. You know what I mean? And then 20 Chiefs players were about to go to that same barber. You know what I mean?
including
And that
Mahomes.
means Demarcus Robinson is in question. Their backup center, was it Kilgore, is in question of playing as well. They have to test positive 5 days in a row. Only that would happen to the Chiefs. And I'm telling you, Tom Brady has some kind of mystical thing like that he has. And it's like only this would happen to Tom Brady. It's a home game for the Bucks because they're playing in Tampa. The first time it's ever happened. It's Super Bowl 55 and Derrick Brooks wore number 55. It's just every crazy AB's here and JPP's about to eat everybody for dinner. And I still think it's going to be a close game, but that mystical thing that happens in the fourth quarter is going to happen again. Tom Brady's going to have the ball last. He's going to throw like a duck or like a nice little touchdown to Scotty Miller or some bullshit to make it win. 31-27.
Okay.
31-27, the Buccaneers.
Do you think like maybe the Bucks are like kind of COVIDy too, but Tom Brady's just that big of a wizard slash Jedi that he's like, there is no COVID on the
Listen
Bucks.
to me. Whatever he does, TB12, whatever it is, if all his team is following that, none of them will get COVID. Okay.
I agree.
They do have some injuries they have to be careful about. Levante David has like a hamstring injury. I think Winfield is a little banged up. I think who is it? Another one of the corners a little banged up as well. So if their if their secondary is a little banged up, oh, it's going to be hell because Tyreek Hill's going to have another 300 yards or whatever in the first half. So
Yeah,
as of right now, I'm riding with the Bucks.
all right. Yeah,
Fire the cannons.
fire the cannons.
I've been convinced.
If they win, they're saying they may fire those cannons. And for our guest host that's been with us 2 times, praying for him to get that win. I want to see him happy. So real Bucks talk. I hope you guys get it, man.
So, because think, all right, again, when the Lightning won, I see. I don't hate the light. I love the Lightning. I was so happy for the city. When the Rays lost, I was so sad for the city because I'm like, damn, the Rays don't deserve that. I was happy for the Dodgers. I like the Dodgers as well. I'm a Phillies fan. Don't get it twisted, but there's players on the Dodgers that I like, and like the Rays have always been my second team.
But the Dodgers, like, you wanted to see them win. I'm sorry. Like,
I wanted to see Clayton Kershaw win.
I want to see Clayton Kershaw win, and I wanted to see, we can talk about this another time, but like the city of Tampa didn't embrace the Rays until
they did it.
Until they got to the World Series. That's when they really embraced it.
And
the city embraces the Lightning day in and day out.
Correct.
Okay? They don't embrace, like, they really don't embrace sports in Tampa. There's so many more things to do in Florida than go to a sporting event, is what sucks. We have theme parks, we have beaches, we have, great nightlife, all this stuff. And
we have every strip club in the world. We have Ybor City. We have too much going on in the city of Tampa. So like I that's what always stresses me out about our city is that the fans, literally, flags were not flying around like this 14 years ago, 10 years ago, 3 years ago. But out of nowhere, everyone's a Bucks fan. That was my only issue that I had.
Shout out to all my homies that are true Bucks fans. Like, those guys, like, I'm happy for you. I'm happy you got here. Just through the thick and thin, and it's good to see that. It's good to see the city revived again and all that. But I kind of put it on the city to embrace your teams, embrace them a lot more. I know the Rays play in St. Pete, but all this fucking, the Rays are they're gonna be good. The Rays are in rebuild mode right now. I hate to say it.
They got Chris Archer back.
Yeah, we'll talk baseball. Baseball comes, but
hey, really quick, they always find a way to figure it out.
They do.
All right.
But does Moneyball win games?
No, it wins games, but not championships.
Championships. It does not win championships. It'll win you games, but you ain't winning the ship on Moneyball.
Correct.
So a list of influential players has been put out, and they only gave us 4. And when you play in the NBA,
we're talking about the NBA, right?
We're talking about the NBA. When you play in the NBA, you play with 5. So I don't get why they didn't give us 5. They gave us 4. And on that list of 4, we have His Airness Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Steph Curry as our 4 influential players since 1990. I mean, let's play a little game here with this. Who would be your 5th person on that list?
Who would be my 4th or my 5th? All right. So
in my opinion, you need a 5th. You're running a squad out there to have 5 influence. You can't have like 4 in a basketball team. You get 5.
I agree. So, all right. I understand the list. Okay. I understand the list. You have to have Michael Jordan on there because if you don't, you need to get kicked out of this country or this world. Like, you need to go to Mars because you're not watched basketball if you don't think Michael Jordan is on the top of that list of influential. The sneakers, the
winning the winning mentality, the championships, the way the man played the game, the bald head and hoop earring, like it all resonates.
Yeah. So you gotta have him on the list. LeBron James, you gotta have him on the list. It's just without question. Okay. So then it got to my 3rd. Kobe, you have to have Kobe on the list because I saw it 2 ways where I can argue him off or on the list. Obviously, much respect to the Black Mamba. I felt like Kobe was literally Michael Jordan, literally the same exact human being. So that's the only reason why you could argue him off the list is because he's no different from Michael Jordan. Like, they're literally the same exact human being. It's just one took place in Chicago and one took place in LA. So those are the 2 things. But
My one argument to that is Kobe was more appealing overseas because he could speak multiple
And
languages.
that's what I was gonna get to. But he literally owned the West Coast. Like you can, Mike Kobe Bryant was Michael Jordan to the West Coast. Like
Mhm.
ask anybody from LA who's the greatest basketball player of all time, they will collectively tell you it's Kobe Bryant. Then Italy, he spoke Italian. China, they love Kobe in China. Like
Spanish. Did his interviews in Spanish, man.
he can speak to Pau Gasol, Sasha Pavlovich, I mean Vujicic. He can speak to Eddie Luka Doncic. He was speaking to in Serbian a couple years ago. Like Kobe took what Michael Jordan gave to this world and made it a little bit more like 2020, like more this century, this millennium. Because Michael Jordan was 80s and 90s, and then Kobe took that torch and then carried it, and then he passed it to LeBron.
Yes.
Correct. Now, in between that, there was a gentleman by the name of Allen Iverson, and I know it's a lot of it. I mean, I'm a Sixers fan, and we all know that, whatever.
We get
But
it.
Allen Iverson literally changed culture, like literally changed culture in not just like it's just he basketball and hip hop conjoined together
Merge.
literally because of one human being. And I don't think people understand that because I looked at this list that was made a couple years ago and they have it ranked from like the of all time. And Allen Iverson was 13th on that list of all time as far as influential. And I took that personally, like Michael Jordan once said. I literally did take that personally because I'm like, Allen Iverson was the sole reason why I'm not even from Philadelphia. I grew up in Detroit, then lived in New York, and then I lived in Florida. I've stepped foot in Philly once in passing when me and my family drove from Brooklyn, New York to Florida when we moved from New York to Florida. But Allen Iverson, I watched him play. I watched him speak. I just watched the swag. I watched the crossovers. I watched everything. I played with him on video. I did everything that he did. I wanted to be Allen Iverson. Amongst everybody who was my age at that time wanted to be Allen Iverson. The cornrows, the tattoos, the Reebok commercials, the Jada Kiss commercials.
He made it cool to be a thug, kind of is what it was. He
Exactly.
to transfer that hip hop energy into basketball, and that's where you got to see, you know, all the collaborations the NBA did with different brands, the
Mm-hmm.
merging of Mitchell and Ness, the the sneaker sales spike, because at that time it was Jordan making shoes, and then Reebok was the next contract.
Reebok was crazy at that time.
Like you want, because everybody doesn't remember, but like that was the big shoe endorsement you want. It wasn't Nike at that time, it was Reebok. And he took Reebok's game to the next level with three lines of shoes. I would say he had more than three shoes, but his first three shoes that he put out, I remember the questions were one of
Yep.
the first shoes I had. I was in fourth or fifth grade, and I had the blue questions, and those things with the honeycomb little heels, man,
Mhm.
those things were smooth. And he was just he was a flashy player, but he was a flashy player that got shit done.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, he went to the finals and lost, but when you look at his team compared to the Lakers team, it was, he beat him game one, the infamous Tyrone Lue step
And
over.
that too. The step over Tyronn Lue beating the Lakers, and like you don't people who are, they don't really understand the game of basketball need to go back and look at that basketball team. What LeBron did in '07 is equivalent to what Iverson did in '01. He took Eric Snow, Aaron McKee, George Lynch, great the Kevin Mutombo was great, defensive player of the year. But he couldn't score like that. Like he was guarding Shaq.
Yeah, he wasn't like the Hawks or the Nuggets.
Yeah, like this is just a good defense. Like he was a very good defensive player. You got to give him that. But like Speedy Claxton, who like Raja Bell was young. I think we had Ali at the time. Like that was not a very good team. Like if you play with them on 2K and play the historical team, I think there's like a
Not a lot of those players
78.
in there. Not a lot of those players are probably there. Probably got like four guys that are just like John Johnson.
Exactly. Like that team was bad, But Allen Iverson, he took down Ray Allen, Vince Carter and that's when Ray
And
Allen was coming up.
big three too. Ray Allen had a big three. Him, Glenn
Exactly.
Robinson, Sam Cassell.
Exactly. Took him down.
Vince Carter was it was Vince Carter. I think
Was supposed to be the next Jordan. Took him down. And
yeah.
then he took toe to toe with Kobe. Obviously, Kobe at that point was on his level too. And Shaq was just the most dominant player the world has ever seen.
So you would pick him over Steph in that fourth category.
Personally, I would. Now, I understand the argument about Steph as far as changing the game of basketball, just the game of basketball. Like, what? I don't think he changed the culture of basketball. He just changed the game. Like the 3-point shots, all that stuff. That's fantastic. Like, it's honestly, I will not argue that he stretched the floor. He made it. He's and I was watching him play last night. Steph Curry an amazing basketball player. Don't get me wrong. He honestly, he's gonna go down. He's gonna be better than Allen Iverson, and I accept that. Like I 100% accept that. But as far as changing influential everything around it, Allen Iverson, you can't have that list without having him have a seat at the table. I'm sorry.
I agree
I'm
because
sorry.
I don't own one single pair of Under Armour shoes or anything Steph Curry.
And no offense to Steph, man. You're a nice guy. It's not your fault that you chose Under Armour,
Yeah,
but they don't make you good looking shoes.
they don't.
They really don't.
Nobody's like, yo, you see these steps? I got the steps. Like nobody's rocking that shit.
And Steph has like a lifetime contract with Under Armour now.
Mhm.
Allen Iverson has a lifetime contract with Reebok. Now you got to understand, like it takes a certain kind of player to have that kind of lifetime deal. And Allen Iverson, who's made a lot of mistakes, been arrested, went to Greece, and came back, and had all these press conferences, everything that could possibly happen to somebody. The fact that he still has that lifetime deal with Reebok, that's how important he is, influential he was to Reebok and to the NBA and to sports. I looked on YouTube, that practice video, like it has 12 million views on YouTube. Like that's a video that would never go away.
No, but Reebok knew what it was. Like it was NFL money they wanted. And then when they got into the NBA market, they were hitting goal with players. Shaq was one of their biggest signings.
Yep.
They had a fight with Converse in the beginning, and then Nike started running away with a little bit of the pie. Reebok was holding most of it, and then Nike eventually took it. But when they had good players like, AI was definitely the big breadwinner for Reebok, and then they transitioned to that above the rim line
Mhm.
with Aaron Davis, Steve Francis, Jason Richardson. They tried, but with that being said, with Reebok and talking about a big guy like a Shaq, if I had to put a five, he would be my fifth. I would get rid of Steph. I appreciate everything Steph has done to the game, but my fourth would have been Allen Iverson for sure, as far as influencing on the game. And then Shaq would have been my fifth because Shaq has been one of the most marketable, influential people in the game, from his smile, from all of his funny antics onto the floor, to all of his shoe endorsements he had with Reebok, and then making his own brand. And Shaq was just,
The movies, he the hip hop.
the hip hop, the Shaq Fu, all that, man. He was dabbling there too. So Shaq, if we had to put a five in there, Shaq is my five.
Mhm.
I'm definitely having Shaq on that list. So I think that list. I think one guy just came into work drunk and was like, "I got four guys. We're running with it. Put it out there."
I don't see. I won't completely. I won't write off Steph to be on that list because I mean, he did a lot to change some things. Like we watched him Trey Young, and we watched a lot of these guys, and a lot of the little baby Stephs running out there or wannabe Stephs running out there. And I get that. 100% I get that. But overall influence, I can argue Shaq as well. And I can definitely Iverson has to be at that table for me. So it's since 1990, for sure Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron.
Mhm.
And then you gotta have Iverson. And then flip a coin between Steph and Shaq. I really don't mind.
Game with that. So with Shaq being said, the big man, the big man is coming back, man. It's like stripes. They come back every other year. It's
Mhm.
in the stripes. Your boy Embiid and the Joker, for the first time, two big guys win Player of the Month since you gave me this stat, 2006. Okay, I
Yep.
didn't know off the top of my head, but you've been seeing a progressive stage of basketball that has been able to flourish without a big at that position. I mean, don't get me wrong, every team has a big, but he's not influential like we got to see that in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s run. It was like 2010 they started to slowly diminish and go away and just have a big body there in the center to clog up the lane. Um, do you think with some of these guys, like the Joker, who's also a hell of a passer, you know,
Mhm.
and uh Joel Embiid, do you think the center position can flourish and come back into the NBA like it was dom like when we look back in the 90s, a lot of good players were bigs. Like David Robinson I think he's the only player to average a quadruple double in one game, and he was averaging crazy points. Patrick Ewing was averaging crazy points. Lonzo Mourning, and the list continues on all of these guys. Shaq, all of these guys.
So,
Do you think that can come back?
so all right, here I'm gonna give you a different perspective on this conversation. If the big man is back, I don't think the big man ever left. I think
I agree.
all
Hold on. I agree with you 100% already.
all that happened is just got revolutionized. Correct. Now, I have my statistician guy feed me some information. So I went back and looked for myself as to see who was dominating in the 90s, who was dominating in the 2000s, who was dominating blase blase, correct? Now, when you look in like 94, 90, 94, 95 season, right? Shaq was putting up crazy numbers. Hakeem was putting up crazy numbers.
I forget Hakeem, man. My bad, bro.
Nigerian, greatest, one of the greatest centers of all time. I'll, but Shaq, Hakeem, David Robinson, Alonzo Mourning,
Mutombo, Patrick Ewing.
Mutombo was putting up crazy numbers.
Yeah, but
He
he
was,
was rebounding
he
like
was a
crazy.
rebounder and a defender, correct?
Yeah.
Patrick Ewing, all right, there's like five or six crazy number guys, and then everybody else was great rebounders and great defenders, right? Then we translate to the 2000s. I put 2005. So since the last time it happened was since in '06, the last time two big men were player of the month. I went back and I looked at '05, '06 to see if there was a drop off. Okay. Here's some of the names. Okay. Marcus Camby, very good big man.
Yeah.
Ben
Defense.
Wallace, four-time defensive player of the year. Yao Ming, he was great.
20-point guy though.
What Yao Ming that season in '05, '06 averaged 22 and 10.
Okay. That's a score.
Uh Chris Kamen's actually on this list.
He was kind of a low-key, like good
But
ball.
exactly. Now Shaq was still on that list. Ziljunas Agaskis was still on that list. So it wasn't the same quality of big man, but there was a slight drop off, okay?
Yeah.
But in that year in '05, '06, as far as just centers, three guys averaged double digits in rebounds, okay? Then I jumped over to 2009, 2010. We have Dwight Howard. We had Marcus Camby still. We had Joe Kim Noah. We had Andrew Bogut. We had Tim Duncan. We had Al Horford and Samuel Dallenberg, and still had Chris Kaman and Mark Gasol was coming up. Paul Gasol was coming up. That's still a good list of big men.
Yeah.
They were still averaging double-digit points and rebounds. They just didn't have.
They didn't
They
have the
didn't.
market capital like they did in the
They
90s on.
didn't dominate because the game went from inside out to outside in. That's all that changed. But
Yeah.
you still had a four or five really good centers that could score and rebound, and then everybody else could rebound and block and play defense. That's how it's always been. So then I jump forward to today's game. Andre Drummond has been doing this for 10 years. He's averaged like 15 rebounds a game his whole career. He's been in the league 8, 9 years. Clint Capella's averaging 14 rebounds a game right now. Rudy Gobert has won a couple defensive player of the year. He's getting $200 million a year. DeAndre Ayton, Karl Anthony Towns, Nikola Jokic, Embiid, Vucevic, Ennis Canner, all the Valanciunas. These are all centers. So the way I see it, since the last 25, 30 years, we've always had 5 or 6 super solid big men, and then a lot of good names after that. Because, like I said, we in the mid 90s, Hakeem, David Robinson, Shaq, Patrick Ewing. That's 4.
Lonzo Morning.
Alonzo Mourning. That's 5.
Okay.
Who else was as good as them?
I mean, I guess for me, what I'm trying to get at too with that is the big was like your focal point. You got the big and you built around the big. Because if you look at those drafts, big men were going first overall in those drafts. They were taking bigs in those drafts, but it was like Georgetown was just pumping them out. They pumped out Patrick Ewing, and then right after Patrick, they had Dikembe. And right after Dikembe, they had
But
Alonzo.
you don't think that's still happening?
I
Dwight
don't
Howard was a first overall pick. No, he
know. He
was second overall. No, he was first to Orlando.
didn't go to college though.
He didn't have to go to college. He was that good. Big man. And
Yeah.
Emeka Okafor was second. Think about recently. The same draft that Luka Doncic was in, DeAndre Ayton was the first overall pick,
Mhm.
center.
And
And now
he's
he
doing well though, I
he's
think.
8-1 against Luka Doncic. Crazy stat. I just saw it the other day. He's 8-1 against Luka Doncic. Recently,
I,
what's the
I
guy?
think I think what the thing is though is like the big man has always been around, but they're looking more from a big man. They want an outside shot from a big man now. Now they want the big guy to be up at the top of the key sometimes and take that 3-point shot and be able to make it. And I always felt like that was a hard thing. Like if I had to watch Shaq not in an all-star game shoot a three, holy hell, man.
Yeah.
It's a struggle to watch him shoot a free throw. What would you want to rely on him to do that? I just think that's, it's more versatile. It opens up the floor more for you. But I'd rather have a guy shoot it that I know would make it and have that guy be there for the put pat.
But does that mean the big man ever left though? It got in my head. The big man was revolutionized. I think it maybe had a couple down years, but I don't think it was ever like, oh, the big man is like completely obsolete.
I think for teams that need it to strive, you do. Like LeBron right now, he's got his big man, and it isn't Mark Gasol. It's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a big man that plays like a power forward.
Mm-hmm.
But if he needs to be the center, he easily can be a center.
Mm-hmm.
The Warriors, they're grooming their big man to change their game now.
He's coming. Wiseman's coming.
The Warriors, look at Draymond Green. He's getting kicked out of games for yelling at the guy because he wants him to be good.
Yeah.
They're the Warriors to me are like an amoeba. There's always something that, or like a cell that's trying to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something wrong with them each year, and they find a way to strive. Whether it's sitting back and tanking and getting a number 2 pick that's going to be really, really good in Wiseman, and then they develop their game around him. Like they know what they're doing. They get it. So yeah, the big man it hasn't disappeared. It's just been kind of neglected for a couple years in my per se. Like there was no reason for the Rockets to get rid of Clint Capella. There was no reason for them to get rid of that man, but they did it. They pulled.
But did it work?
I think so. I think it could have worked with Clint. You're getting to see him.
But no. Did it work after they got rid of Clint? No.
No,
that completely shows you how important the big man is. Like Nurkic that plays for Portland, when he's in the lineup compared to when he's not in the lineup, you see the difference. Like it's just, it's crazy. Like I'm looking at Brooklyn right now, who Brooklyn's going to win the East, by the way, and they might very well win the championship. I'm just going to say that right now. But if they can address the center position a little bit better, because I don't think DeAndre Jordan is the answer.
I think he's still like a solid guy for what they need on there.
But if they had Jared Allen compared to DeAndre Jordan, I would 100% think they would win the championship.
Plug in JaVale McGee. They get JaVale McGee. He's kind of the same thing, just a little bit older. He's a rebounding, lanky dude. He just doesn't have a cool afro like.
Jared Allen, that's a bad boy. That's a bad boy. But like again, another big man that like he's on a team with him and Andre Drummond and JaVale McGee. And all three of them are having pretty solid seasons. Like I don't know. I never thought the big man completely died. I just thought just the responsibility of the big man has changed. And it took a couple years for them to adjust to that responsibility. But like they still find a way to impact the game. And that's what, to me, what it comes down to is how has the big man ever has for as long there was a couple years of small ball, but for as long as we know, has the big man not been able to impact the game? And I think that's what it comes down to, and they have been. So it just
I
depends on how you look at it.
I do. I just think people aren't overvaluing big men like they used to. Like you've seen the experiments, tank. Look at Kwame Brown. Everybody thought I could get on my Stephen A. Smith right now about
Kwame
Kwame.
Brown was just trash.
He was bad. He was really, really bad. Even Jordan couldn't coach him. Even Jordan couldn't coach him. So Jordan, as
Well,
a
at
player,
that point, Jordan had no more patience.
well, Jordan was a player and he was the GM. He sent his ass packing.
At
So
that point, at 40 years old, Jordan got no patience for no damn Kwame Brown. Come on, man.
you see it. It's just how you target these big men. There's some guys that are sure shot, and I thought Wiseman had a small sample size, but he must have had a good showing in high school and stuff. But he's obviously going to be very very good player, So it's how you value them. That's how I'm looking at these big men coming out.
Yeah,
Um, so today we did a little bit different. We weren't going off of what's going on in the NBA and stuff like that. We're just going off of kind of topics, and I think I like this transition going forward. We just start opening floor to conversation on
sure.
different topics. With that, we discussed about the NBA, some of our takeaways from it, like what is our biggest surprise and disappointment. I kind of spilled my ideas to KK before the show, so I'm gonna come out and say my biggest surprises and disappointments in the NBA coming forward into this little segment that we have before we wrap up the show. So to piggyback off of some of the stuff, you're seeing a lot of players come into their shell. So my biggest surprise this year would be the emergence of Jaylen Brown on a team where he was like a third or fourth option. Um, and I think he kind of took that personally, knowing that he was drafted, I think, second or third overall
Mm-hmm.
out of Cal. And
Yeah.
he he knew what his role was, and you're seeing him facilitate that role, doing well with Jason Tatum. Taking the shots when he needs to take them, and not be the best player on that team, but he could very well be if he wanted to. But he knows it's Jalen. He knows it's a Tatum's team.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think my other one, just as a personally as a Knicks fan, we signed Julius Randle, and that was during the free agent buzz. New York was the hot spot for players to go to. And I remember Stephen A saying it best. And to this day, it will forever be one of my favorite Stephen A. Smith statements. He said the New York Knicks tanked on signing Kyrie Irving. They didn't get the first pick. They didn't sign Kevin Durant. And you announce on day one you signed Julius Randle. That's a day three type of signing. Right? That's a day three signing. Big whoop, Knicks fans. Anyways, I am proud of Julius Randle because when you're playing in Madison Square Garden, you're playing in front of the most critiquing fans out there, and you're leading your team in three major categories. You're playing superstar basketball in my head. You're probably going to get traded somewhere for some picks. I'm just letting you know, Julius, if you happen to listen to this podcast. But I love the way you're playing. Keep playing this ball. You're a big man in my heart, even though you're the same size as LeBron. Like you're putting up good numbers, man. And I think my biggest disappointment of this season, I'm gonna come out and flat out say it, and I think a lot of people know it. It's got to be the Washington Wizards, man.
Mm-hmm.
You've gutted a lot of stuff there. You got rid of John Wall's fun culture. The city loves that guy. You got rid of your head coach, and you bring in a Scott Brooks, and then you say, "Oh, I'm going to bring in Russell Westbrook. They have rapport together. They did a lot together, and it's not clicking." And Bradley Beal is leading the league in scoring, and he's balling, and he still wants to stay.
He wants to be there. God, and when we talked about it, I said, if
Guy,
I'm proud of him. I'm so proud of Bradley Beal for at least wanting to put up with this shit any longer.
I know, man. Like that's got to be the biggest disappointment. But to their credit, they have 4 wins, and those 4 wins are against really good teams. They're not against like shitty teams that they should be beating because they are the shit of the shit. But on paper, they look better than what they should be doing. So those are my two.
I have one question based off of those your biggest your takeaways right now. Do you think at some point the emergence of Jaylen Brown, do you think there's going to be any kind of conflict between him and Jason Tatum?
I don't think so. Those guys, if you see them in interviews, they're next to each other, they're buddies. They like each other, they like playing with each other. I think you're gonna see a good little run with those two players. You could make one of them expendable, I would say Jalen Brown, but I think you'd be dumb to do that because you drafted these guys in the I think it was the 2, 3, and 4 spot. I don't know. They're top 5 picks, both of them.
2 and 3,
Yeah, 2 and 3,
or
and
no 3, no 3 and 3. They're,
3 and 3,
mhm,
and they like playing with each other.
mhm.
You know, Jason Tatum doesn't look like an asshole. Jalen Brown is a super nice guy. They both go protest together. They both do interviews together. Like it's that's what you want out of a team.
Okay.
Young core that you can build around. Now bring in those players. Bring in the Kemba Walker. Kemba doesn't give a shit. He doesn't have to be the leading scorer.
Yeah, he's cool.
Kemba,
Yeah,
Kemba is he's cardiac Kemba for a reason.
cardiac Kimba.
So Jalen is doing what he needs to do, and I love seeing it there. I love seeing it for the Celtics, even though I hate the Celtics.
All right, so my turn. My biggest surprise is a team actually. My biggest surprise is the Utah Jazz. Now, Shaq called out Donovan Mitchell a couple weeks ago,
I don't even know who you are like that, but you're not going to be winning like you are.
but and people took it however they want to take it. Some people say, NBA stars now are too sensitive. Some people say, deal with it. You're just, it's constructive criticism.
He handled it well.
He had now they've won, I think, 12 of 13 games right now. They're number one in the West. Utah looks good. Like they look really good. Like Donovan Mitchell, as soon as he got into the NBA and I watched maybe 15 games of him, I called him the next Dwayne Wade. Like to me, he's like a new and improved Dwayne Wade because he's a better scorer, better shooter. He's not as good as a defender by any means as Dwayne Wade. So I don't want to give people the idea that I'm calling him Dwayne Wade,
I
but
know.
his body style, his explosiveness,
Harrison is close to that of a
his
Dwayne.
his love for the game has a lot of Dwayne Wade. So he's going to be Utah's version of Dwayne Wade. They can probably name a county after him in Utah. I think he has that kind of swag. So I got to give a lot of credit to the Utah Jazz. They're like, I think they've had like 8 straight games of 15 plus 3-pointers, something crazy stat like that. Like Bogdanovich is back. Like they look. Jordan Clarkson looks good. That whole team, you got to give it to him. My biggest disappointment, my biggest disappointment is the Dallas Mavericks. I love Luka Doncic is supposed to be so after LeBron retires. My next favorite player is either going to be Luka, um, Devin Booker, Zion Williamson, or either Ben Simmons or Embiid, depending on how I'm feeling at that time. That was like I made that clear. That was my list I was going to choose from. Luka's doing fine. It's not his fault, but Luka does not have that thing yet where he can lead his like Luka individually is really great, but they got rid of Seth Curry and they've been dealing with a little bit of COVID issues and stuff like that. But they're 8-13 right now. They're 13th in the West. They're like 23rd in points per game. They're 28th in rebounds. They're not. They were. There's a team that I thought could beat the Clippers last year in the playoffs. Obviously, the Kristaps thing, and there's a lot of things that they're dealing with. But I thought Luka would be. I thought Luka was going to win MVP. I predicted he'd win MVP this season when the season like my preseason pick. He was my preseason pick to win MVP. 8-13 is not going to get it done. Now, can they turn it around? Absolutely. But so far this season, I am very disappointed because in the West, you said it a couple weeks ago. I didn't think the Warriors would be a team that could be like a fifth or sixth seed. The Warriors are going to be in the playoffs. So,
How about those Grizzlies though?
John Morant,
Oh, I told you, man.
because we said that we mentioned that too. John Morant got these boys looking. He's got they don't have Justice Winslow yet, and they don't have Jaren Jackson back yet either. And
Mhm.
Valanciunas has been in and out the lineup, so they're not even in the full strength yet.
I would,
So
I would say another disappointing team too out west is the Pelicans for all the hype that they have behind them, and now they're going to be like on tank mode.
they're
So,
I'm not surprised. You know why I'm not surprised? because people overvalue Lonzo Ball. And I'm sorry, he just had a good game the other day, but I've been on record saying it. I think he's another Michael Carter Williams.
I think I don't know. Michael
I
Carter.
don't. Well, I
My
mean,
my biggest fight to Lonzo is like he doesn't play with a passion in the game. Like he doesn't. I don't see the love for the game
when
there.
does that come?
One maybe when you're in your third team, I guess. I don't know. Like I don't know. I think he wants to be in a big market team, and I think LA was going to be it for him. But then like LeBron came in, and
That's
I'm
a
not. You know,
horrible mindset to have. LeBron started off in Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell's in Utah. Jokic is in Denver. Like these are Paul George started off in Indiana and he balled. Like
you have your own brand. You have your own brand. You know, like you want to promote your brand, and it. I'm not taking anything away from what he's thinking. I don't think he's like a superstar at all, as much as a reach for a two pick, by the Lakers. I think that was bad drafting there.
but
Um,
think about it. His brother already looks better than him. His brother has been in the league for a month and a half, and he's already a way better player to me than Lonzo Ball. His younger brother. That says a lot about Lonzo to me because I see him and I'm like he would be a good sixth or seventh man, but I would never want to start my team or build around Lonzo Ball. I'm sorry, like he doesn't have. They wanted him to be Jason Kidd. I don't see it. They wanted him to be Sean Livingston on steroids. I don't see. I don't. He will be a good backup in his league maybe if he cares to be a backup, but I don't
gonna
see
come
it.
because there's no zeal, there's no love, there's no nothing when you see the guy play. So he's gonna have to change his attitude, and maybe a team will put up with it. But until then, I don't think Stan Van Gundy wants him there.
No, not Stan. No, because Stan likes certain kind of guys that love basketball. You can just Stan loves basketball. He's a nerd. He's crazy. He loves X's and O's. He loves basketball. Lonzo wants to get up and run, and then go rap, and then go promote Big Baller Brand, and then go get this tattoo and go rap again. I'm like, bro, you got to just learn how to play basketball first, because I'm not seeing it. I'm not
Yeah,
seeing it.
I agree. But all right, let's wrap it up. Let's jump into where do you go to college? Let's do
Where
it.
did he go to college? Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. All right, so I did a theme today, y'all. I did a theme. Assistant coaches that are
Oof.
current assistant coaches in the NBA right now. I picked four guys, and then your boy, who's now my homeboy, Nick Wilk,
Shout
he
out.
gave he gave me a fifth one to use. So when we got five, we're gonna start off with the assistant coaches first. Okay, I'm gonna make it easy for you.
Okay.
I honestly believe that you should go 5 for 5. At worst, 4 for 5. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Don't get nervous now.
I'm always nervous.
First player, easy. Okay. He's an assistant coach for the Clippers now, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the Clippers. Chauncey Billups.
Uh, Chauncey is a Colorado native, and he went to Colorado
All right.
pick in the '97 draft.
Thank you. I'm proud of you. See, I told you I'm gonna make it easy for you. I'm here for you. I want you to feel good going into Super Bowl weekend.
Thank you. Is he an assistant or is he like an advisor?
He is an assistant coach for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Damn, he was going for front office jobs and they just made him an assistant coach. Damn.
You know how they do us. Anyway, next, he's an assistant coach for my first place in the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia 76ers. Sam, I am Cassell. Where did he go to college?
The alien, man.
The alien.
They got
Crazy.
school, Florida State, man.
Florida State. That's crazy. They had him. They had Charlie Ward. What?
And then Bob Sura came right behind him,
Bobby
man.
Sura. Look at you. All right. See, I told you. I told you I got you. I told you I got you. Number 3. He is an assistant coach for the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, after his career, he was like a manager at Starbucks over like in Seattle. But where did Vin Baker? Ooh,
Yo, he was one of my favorite basketball players, okay? Vin Baker from Florida.
Lake Wales, Florida.
He exactly from Florida. He balled out at the smallest college of Hartford in Connecticut.
Let's
And
go.
then he was in He Got Game on the court playing against him in the park.
And you did say you know everybody from that movie, correct?
I do.
Okay. All right. Now here's the extra credit one that my boy Nick Will gave us. Okay. This young man had a pretty decent career. He was a first round pick, 10th overall, selected by the Magic. So when I first moved to Florida, he was one of the first players that I got to pay attention to on the Orlando Magic. He is now an assistant coach as well on the Utah Jazz, the first place in the West, Utah Jazz. Keon Dooling, also from Fort Lauderdale. He's from Florida, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Where did Keon Dooling go to college?
I see the jersey. I'm gonna say Missouri.
5 for 5.
That's at 4. That's 4, isn't it?
That's the fifth one.
Oh,
you're wrong. I came up with that one. Nick gave me another one.
Oh, okay. All right. Keon
I came up with this one. Nick gave me another one. That's my mistake. But you're 4 for 4. I got ahead of myself. I'm like, damn, A-Rod got it this week.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good.
All right. Can you get this last one?
I'll do my best.
All right. This young man, also known as Skip to My Lou, where did Rayford Austin go to college?
USC.
You know, we always have this thing about you with West Coast colleges. You're close that he went to a college in the West Coast.
Oh, man.
But it wasn't USC. He started off at 2 community colleges, Ventura.
I know that.
And then Fresno Community College. And then ended up at Fresno State.
4 for 5.
I said you'll at least go 4 for 5.
I shouldn't. I knew he was on the West Coast. And the crazy thing about Skip is like, he is a relevant player. I won't even fight that.
Yeah.
He was the face of and one for and one right at that time. So his just emergence with the Rockets took it to the next level. So,
and then what he almost did for the Orlando Magic, they shouldn't have put. I love Jameer Nelson, but they shouldn't have put Jameer Nelson back in that lineup because that would have been enough. That would have been a ring for Dwight at that time.
Oh well, man.
But
all
yeah,
right. I'll take it.
4 for 5. We'll take it. We'll take it. All right, that's it. Remember, I picked the Bucks. He picked the Chiefs. We're gonna see who's right.
We have no gentleman's wager on this.
Not no way. All right, here so it's right now it's Chiefs 3.5. So it's a 3.5 spread. Chiefs on top. I think the over under is like 56.
I say gentleman wager. Whoever loses, we have a trigger word on the next episode, and they have to just take shots during the episode.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want my mama watching this and getting me. I'm getting drunk. You know.
I agree.
But that's all, folks. Drop those ads. Drop those links, my friend.
You know them already, man. And if you're listening, so Twitter at @fair_weatherpod, Instagram the Fair Weather Podcast, YouTube, Facebook. You can find us on there. Just search the Fair Weather Podcast. You'll be able to find us on there, and then wherever you subscribe to podcasts, you can hear this on there as well.
Fire the cannons.
Boom, boom.